up, everybody? Welcome back to the Spread the Positive podcast. We have a very special virtual guest coming in all the way across the country in this place called Los Angeles. And she's doing a lot of stuff that is very much in line with the foundational principles of all things Spread the Positive, random acts of kindness, just all the stuff that we need more of in this world. It's a privilege and a pleasure to welcome Megan Snedden. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
To steal your line that you just used on me, I'm better now. So,
Thank
uh,
you.
so how I typically like to do it is get a little backstory on you, early passions, kind of what shaped this, what brings us to current life, if you will. So take us back to young Megan, what you were into as a kid, and just some of those foundational principles that led to where we're at today.
It's really funny that you asked me that because I'm not sure how many people would be able to reflect and say that as a kid they were really into doing random acts of kindness, but I was.
I love it.
I feel like
Just
such
from
a
day
nerd.
one, huh?
Yeah, from day one. And I think it's just because that was something that my parents started teaching me at a really young age. I remember being at Target during the Halloween time, and there was a family that really wanted this pumpkin, but the mom kept saying no, like we can't afford that, and my mom's like, we're going to buy them that pumpkin. And
Love that.
that's kind of like when it all started, because it just instilled in me this idea like, oh, I should be paying more attention to other people and their needs and see how I can fit into that. And then I used to do wild and crazy things as a kid, and then all the way up through adulthood, like for Mother's and Father's Day and my family's birthdays. I would like make them stay in their rooms and like decorate the whole house and put on like a whole hurrah. And then in middle school and high school, when I was on sports teams, I would like go and kidnap whoever this birthday that was. I would like go kidnap them and take them to IHOP, and there would be like a whole party waiting for them. And
I
then
love it. Love that.
I just love the element of surprise, I think.
The element of surprise using kindness.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I
Yeah,
can
like
relate
the
to that on a lot of
positive
levels.
punks, I guess.
Positive punks. Wow. That's a show. That's a show idea there. So that's amazing. So early on, just clearly looking out for other opportunities to celebrate kindness and just being nice, right? Isn't that kind of what it all comes down to?
Sort of. I think so. I think it takes a certain mindfulness of just having a greater awareness of the people around you. And some might call it codependency. I call it awesome, but I'm just like hyper attuned to the needs of others, I guess, and just flexing that compassion muscle.
Hey, the world needs more of that. I'll say that with utmost confidence. So, salute to you for having that kindness and compassion muscle that you've been flexing for a long time. That is beautiful and something to celebrate. That's so awesome. Thank you. Honestly, just thank you for having that approach on a daily. I think that's something that all of us can really benefit from and just be more aware of, right? Like it's easy to get caught up in the day to day and the hustle and bustle, and there's a lot of distractions that could make one not want to be kind and not want to be compassionate. So yeah, just thank you for doing that, and thank you for having the self-awareness and just being willing to do that, as a lifelong goal. I think that's something really beautiful and something really to celebrate. So
I
not to
appreciate
get
it.
super, super duper deep right off the front end, but that's something that's something I really identify with as well. And it's something that this whole platform has been built on. And I'm sure you can agree. Like I said, like we need more of this. We need, like, let's get uncomfortable being nice to each other. But real quick, do want to plug one of our sponsors, Last Word Letters from Bro Business Labs. My guy Jeremy Lee has created a really amazing program to help people through the living will and leaving your last words to the people you love the most. It's called Last Word Letters, like I said. So check out lastwordletters.com and be sure to use the promo code STP at checkout for 20% off. And you will not only be supporting the STP network and the mission here at Spread the Positive, you'll also be doing some very freeing and amazing work to leave the loved ones that you care about the most some lasting words and letters of true compassion and love that you want them to know about, even when you pass. I know that's not the most spread the positive topic here, but it's a real thing that we're all going to have to deal with at some point. So go ahead and take the plunge. Check out lastwordletters.com. Use that code STP at checkout for 20% off. I guess let's get into current life. Like what did all of that lead to? And obviously, let's get into all things kind effect and just kind of how that, took flight and all of that.
Sure. I mean, I think the bliss of life is all the happy accidents or all the places that you didn't mean to end up that you somehow found yourself in, which is exactly what is happening in my life now. I think just touching on what you were saying earlier about the world just needing more kindness. That wasn't for me necessarily born in a vacuum. I mean, I think there was some of that that originated from my past of being a kid and like what my family had taught me, but also I had gone through just a couple of really significant losses in my lifetime. Unfortunately, I had lost both my dad and my brother at separate times in
Man,
unexpected accidents. And I think when you go through the type of loss that I've been through, and I'm sure that anyone that's been through the grief process of like an unexpected loss would probably say the same, that it really changes you because it makes you see the brevity of life and how fragile your life is, that you can be a living, breathing human one day and just gone the next, and you just never know when. So I guess, in terms of the kind effect and how that came to be, I entered my 30s and suddenly had this like, what am I doing with my life
pretty sure we all do.
moment.
Yeah.
Big moment. I'm like, is it a quarter life crisis at 30? Is it a midway
It's
crisis?
something.
It's a something kind of crisis. But I was thinking, if I'm hyper aware of the fact that we're only here for a little while and that we need to make the best use of our time, like what does that look like to me? And it all just kind of comes down to, I think, the simple good things that we do for others on a day-to-day basis that makes the greatest impact overall. So it just started with me. I think just incorporating more random acts of kindness into my life again, because I had somehow just fallen away from that. And I was really at that time looking for an increased sensation of meaning, joy, and purpose in my life. So I started doing more random acts of kindness on a regular basis, like surprising store clerks with candy bars or randomly buying coffees for
It can
people.
be pretty small, right?
So
It doesn't
small.
have to be big, right?
No, oh my gosh, my favorite thing to do is just to give people compliments.
I know. That's
I think
so
I
funny.
got on the call with you and you gave me a couple of compliments, and I was like, wow.
Flipping the script on you.
I was
Yeah.
just like, my day instantly just got so much better. So, and it went from that to, somebody mentioning to me like, oh, you should start recording and sharing these moments, like bring more intentionality to what you're doing and sharing that, because content more and more has become king, and this is like all the digital content age revolution. So then I started making videos about it, thinking, okay, well, maybe people would need to see something positive out there versus all the negativity of the news. And as it kind of picked up speed, I noticed that this was just something that people needed more of in their life. And then suddenly I was like, well, I guess my movement needs a name, and I guess it's
Let's
the
go.
movement. So years later, like here we are. I'm still occasionally making kindness content. Sometimes I host kindness events.
Love
Right
that,
now,
man.
for example, I'm hosting a kindness challenge on my website, and I have a free ebook that's called the Changemakers Action Plan. That's all about teaching people how they can also increase their sensation of well-being, subjective well-being, as they like
Let's
to call
go.
it in the
Let's go. Thank
sciencey terms,
you.
subjective
Gotta
well-being
be
or
PC
happiness.
with it. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep. You're right.
how they can increase their subjective well-being by doing random acts of kindness, and you know, just still out there trying to make use of my time.
That's amazing. I kind of want to take it back just a little bit. That's
Oh,
so awesome, and we're gonna get into all that. But like, what's your background? Like, what's your professional background, educational background? Take
yeah.
us through
Oh
kind of that
God.
progression. I know,
When
not
I
all the.
no, I laugh
Yeah,
because the first thing that comes to mind is college, and I went into college completely undeclared because I just had I had zero inclination of what I wanted to do, and even what I wanted to major in, and even still, I majored in international relations and also writing. And international relations because it was the only subject that I could study that would allow me to take multiple subjects at the same time because I'm just interested in everything all the
I love
time.
that.
Um,
Can definitely appreciate that.
yeah, it's difficult being
Yeah,
interested in
it's
everything. And that actually came to be an asset because then I ended up going into journalism.
there you go.
And yeah, so for somebody that's interested in everything, journalism is the perfect career because you basically hop from investigating one subject really deeply with the help of other people. So there's a lot of human engagement in that, and then moving on to the next subject. But unfortunately, over time, you know, when I was entering my 30s, I started to experience like decreased sensation of satisfaction in my career just because of what I said earlier of how the digital landscape was changing and how I would spend so much time and effort on these pieces and then they would just disappear into the content ether within a day or two and just not really make an impact or you know get any reaction out of people at all. And I
Mm,
kind of felt like, you know, if you're going to be creating content that makes some type of impact, it needs to be sensational in some way so that
right.
it stands out to people. And it either needs to be sensational in a negative way or sensational in a positive way. And I'm like, okay, well, what if I just start telling stories that are a little bit better than what I'm telling now? And they kind of have this surprise element to that so that it gets more
That's
attention.
awesome.
And
That's
this is
awesome.
the summarized version.
Oh
There
yeah.
was a lot of like crying in between.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
There was a lot of crying and like down days because as you probably already know that going through transitions in life are never really easy, especially when you're just like, what am I doing?
Yeah. Another thing I can echo is just it's hard to sell the feel good, the positive, the uplifting, the unifying, which is weird and which is sad to me. But as someone that's been working on this project for over, 12 years now, it's sadly a truth. Like
Mhm.
it's a stretch to, celebrate the food drive that went right or the someone held the door open or helped the old lady across the street, which,
Sure.
whatever. I mean, it's all relative to a certain degree, but at the same time, why can we not lean into some of those unifying, uplifting, positive stories the way we just dive into everything that goes wrong and just like I say it all the time. Like I've had a little bit of a vendetta against the news cycle since I can remember, literally since I can remember. I being like 4.5, 5 years old. Um, Everything stopped to go watch everything that went wrong that day. And I remember being
Mm,
little like, A, when is the sports coming on? B, like why is this what we're doing? And I I I mean I've literally kind of turned it into my life's work to just create any type of counter to that. Has it
good.
been like what, would be considered successful up until this point? Talk about subjective. But
Sure, yes, that's
and then
so subjective.
yeah, the struggle's real, the scraping to get by is real, but at
Mhm.
the same time, you also said something that and I hate when I bring myself into some of this stuff, but I feel like you can really relate
Sure.
is just the fact that you talk about fulfilling and building something that's actually that checks those boxes for you, right? Like
Sure.
checks those like mental health boxes, checks those just why am I even here, let alone why am I doing this work? And I think it's imperative to have that type of even if it's not your, what you're doing 24/7 as a career, just having some type of outlet that is checking those boxes because it is absolutely critically important. And I think we could both agree that if you don't have some type of something like that in your professional and or philanthropic careers, if you will, like things get weird quick and you will be searching forever to find a aspect of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've just come back to that again and again and again. And I'm no stranger to nihilistic thoughts, because it's so easy to fall down that rabbit hole and be like, well, if life is fundamentally meaningless, then like what's the point?
Let's go there. It's real. It's a real thing. I
So
know we all have thought it. So yeah, I love
yeah, and
that.
we've all thought it. And if you say that you haven't thought it, you've probably thought it. And I liked, I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel, but they had done a whole video on this thing that they called optimistic nihilism. And I love that because it's like, okay, well, if life is fundamentally meaningless, then we get to create the meaning, which means that we could do whatever we want. And why not do great things? So then that's where I'm like, yeah, that's why I feel motivated to do kindness, is because at the end of the day, like, why not?
We are kindred spirits. I will say that with utmost confidence, and I think this is a first of many that
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
might that might transpire in the near to forever future. But that's so beautiful, and I couldn't agree more. And it's man, that's deep though, isn't it? That is
Mhm.
deep. That will make you question literally every single thing about your existence.
Yeah. There's
And it's
like a
yeah.
poster that I also saw at a Buddhist center that was like, "You are here." And it was pointing to just like a little speck in the whole universe, and that
Yep.
was like planet Earth. It said Earth, and then it was the speck, and you're like,
And
"Wow, that sure puts things into perspective." Like, I am just this teeny, teeny, tiny speck, and it
yes.
kind of sometimes our problems are the things that overwhelm us, that just feel like they're going to crush us, are so uh, overwhelming. They feel like they're going to be the end of us, and ultimately it's important to keep that or that at least helps me keep things in perspective, to be like, okay, time moves in a linear or perhaps non-linear fashion. Like, this too shall pass. Like, my problems are not the only force or guiding force in this multiverse or whatever.
Right. Nah, it sounds woo woo and out there, but it's absolute facts.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I've been through a lot of we you know what? We've all been through a lot of difficulty. Hello 2020,
yep. I
and
was there for that. Yep.
uh, yeah, I was here for that too. I think the world was, and it's important sometimes to just like reach beyond what we see and are experiencing immediately for something greater.
Love that. So accurate. Speaking of, let's talk about those times when it's harder to be kind. Let's talk about those times where it's easy to get caught up in those moments where
Yeah.
it's not fun and things are really weighing you down. You're in a bad headspace, things are kind of piling up on you. Um, what are some of your go-to ways to like navigate that process and try to switch up that mindset?
Sure. So I have a history of clinical grade depression. So there's that for you. If there's
Same,
anybody
same.
listening, oh, hey, fellow depression companions, what's up? And I'm
100.
honestly like, I wasn't open about that before, but nowadays I'm trying to just express that more openly, because I found like the more that I have shared, the more I've come across people that have been through depression or regularly experience depression. And it is a beast. It is a beast.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm now treated and in a much better place, so that I feel like I can speak to that and encourage others. But where I was going with that was, in some of like my deepest, darkest times, one of the things that I found that was helpful for me was mixing random acts of kindness into my own kind of self-described treatment plan. And I
I
say like
like it.
treatment plan because, um, as anybody who lives with depression knows, it's not just like, oh, here, do this one thing and you'll be better. It really is a complex mental health condition that takes a lot of different things to treat. So I would be mixing in random acts of kindness and also doing my exercise and going to therapy and doing outreach and taking medication. There were a lot of things there. But ultimately, random acts of kindness as part of your treatment plan, I think, is really effective, because what happens in this depressed brain of ours is we start to have these dark thoughts like, oh, I don't matter. And what we have to do, or at least what I was trained in, um, like cognitive behavioral therapy, was to be able to overcome these negative thoughts with concrete evidence. So it's like, okay, well, you need concrete evidence in order to debunk these thoughts, to remind your brain that they're not actually true. So if
Mm.
you go out and you do random acts of kindness and you get positive feedback from your environment, that goes into the evidence bucket, you know? So if you're saying to yourself that I don't matter, what I do doesn't matter, my life doesn't matter, if you go out and you give somebody a compliment, you say, hey, you like, I can tell you put a lot of effort into your look today, you look really nice, or like, you have a
Killing that
wonderful
look. Yep.
smile, then
Yep. Yep.
you always get a positive reaction from that person, or 95% of the time you get a positive reaction, and like, you get a smile and you actually feel that rush of feel good chemicals, the oxytocin, the uh you know, whatever, all those
Endorphins.
other, the
Yeah.
endorphins, like all the feel good
Serotonin, all the
brain
things.
chemicals.
Hmm.
And you have this like little bit of information that's like, hey, like what I do matters. And you stack it up over time. And you can do that, I think, through random acts of kindness.
1000%. I heard somewhere, or I don't remember where I heard it or read it, but someone said volunteering is the best antidepressant on the planet. And
Yeah.
like just serving, being nice, saying a compliment, getting outside of yourself, right? Like that's what it ultimately comes down to, I think, is just, hey, I'm not feeling 100% today. I
Mhm.
am really down actually. I'm probably closer to 0% mentally, and there's those moments that we all have, and it's the quickest way, and I can say with utmost confidence, it works. It just works. Like
Yeah.
go to the food shelter, go wherever you can, go to anywhere that is, just seek out a volunteer opportunity and like put your all into it, and you will forget. Not even forget, you'll just be aware that you're not alone. One, definitely you're not alone, and two, like there's a lot of people that are looking for those opportunities to connect and just have those human experiences, like you said. Just
Totally.
saying something nice about someone, holding the door, going out of your way, and not. There's a little weirdness with that nowadays. Like holding the door could be weird, which is crazy to me. But like if that's where anyway, let's not even put that out there any more than
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah. I
just
appreciate
just
what
being
they get it. They get it.
just being, just trying to help people, and
Sure.
just recognizing like, hey, I got two good legs and two good arms, and I can go make your life a little easier, right? So
Sure, and I think
that
it's about giving back in accordance with where you are and what you're able to give back. So if
yes,
you
yes, that's
are, like,
huge.
close to 0, just finding a way to do some sort of random act of kindness that's gonna impact people in any sort of way, I think is a positive place to start.
Yep.
Like, I used to just pick flowers and, like, make little mini bouquets and, like, hand those
Love
out
it.
to people. That was, like, my favorite thing,
That's one of the
to do.
go-tos.
Well, that was yeah, that was
Yeah.
and is one of my
Yeah.
go-tos,
Still.
handing out flowers to people. That's a fave. And then, you know, when you are at a place that you found your some of your strength back that you're able to give for a longer period of time, going for those volunteer opportunities where you're actually able to get more of a sustained time period of impact, I think is really good too.
I love that. Love that so much. So, another one of kind of the baseline things with all things spread the positive and this whole podcast and everything that we're doing here is bringing light to what's going right. Uh, Kind of subjective again, but there's a few things I feel that we can universally agree on. Kindness being one of them, right? Like, I feel like if you can fundamentally be against being kind to someone, you are 1,000% part of the problem that we're all kind of, trying to combat, if you will. So,
Sure.
what beyond beyond kindness in general, and obviously I'll just say with utmost confidence again, everything you're about and your mission and this brand you're creating and this movement you're creating is a perfect example of what I would consider going right. But on your side of things, what would you consider going right in the world?
Well, I think that we have such a tremendous opportunity in our interpersonal relationships with each other to show love. And
Yeah,
I think that we have opportunities every single day to check in with each other. And that's where I at least observe a lot of warmth and a
yeah,
lot of love in the world is just those closer connections.
I love that.
Friendship.
Friendship, connection,
Friendship and connection.
being there for each other, all the stuff. Um, what else can we talk about in regards to the kind effect and the movement that you're doing? Let's go all the way in on how people can support, how people can follow, how people can, spread the word, all of that.
Sure. So if you go to thekindeffect.com, on there you'll see some of the things that I mentioned earlier that are
Hmm.
100% free. So I have a free ebook on there called the Changemakers Action Plan that people can download, and it takes you through these different exercises that were given by Ivy League schools to rate your level of subjective well-being or happiness, and then just
Nice.
some practices so that you can help yourself to find a greater sense of purpose in life.
Awesome.
Um,
Quick interruption.
yeah.
How was the process of creating that? That had to be amazing.
Oh, it's been really fun.
Yeah.
I love the topic of happiness. I think that there's just some alignment there with kindness. So what it really is these surveys that I had found through these Ivy League schools to be able to see where you are on the happiness scale.
That's
And
dope.
then I encourage people to go out and do random acts of kindness for 3 days in a row, and then retake the surveys to see if there
Wow.
was an
I'm
impact
gonna do that.
made. So yeah, just so
Uh,
you can have evidence for yourself that going out and being kind does make a difference in your feelings of satisfaction in life.
God, that's so good. Okay,
It's
sorry.
fun.
That's amazing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's amazing. I don't remember where you were. So we got
I
the
can't either. So all these freebies, there's action plan.
change maker thing, and then
Yeah,
what
we have
else?
the 3-day kindness challenges on there. I have free
Okay.
kindness wallpaper. You know, just go on and I encourage people to explore because also my
Th-
YouTube videos are on there and you can watch those for free. There's just
yeah,
I'm just giving out kindness for free.
I know that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I remember some of the early days of STV, and I remember wanting to. I still got dreams of this too. So if there's a way we can collab on this, I'm putting it out there. But I want to turn kindness into a currency. Like,
Kindness, the currency.
right. And you're jingling it up already. Like that's what we need. So we're tracking. We're tracking there. But seriously, like, man, there's got to be a way to do that. And even if you even if you like hack the system and you get all these like rewards for like faking being nice to people, I'm good with it. Like there's not a version of this that couldn't have a exponentially positive effect on the planet. So
Yeah.
I want to put that out there. Turning kindness into a currency, the whole rack 'em up idea back in the day. That was the tagline I kept going back to. But
Mm.
hey, let's brainstorm on that. But
Love
I
it.
love
Love
that.
it.
So
That's for sure.
kindeffect.com, right?
Yeah.
Kindeffect.com.
Mhm.
Uh, what's the IG again?
The kind
The
effect.
the kind effect. Okay,
Yeah.
at the kind effect. We'll have all that in the notes as always. But
Cool.
so awesome. It's so refreshing too. All the way, and you had I was watching some of the stuff you have on the email you sent with like
Mm.
the Kindosaurus and just
Oh, yeah.
you know
Oh, yeah. Oh, I only lost my mind on that one. Oh, God.
I love it
You mean
though.
the weird things we did during the pandemic? I mean,
Yes,
I during the
man.
pandemic at some point, like, cut my hair off and, like, dyed it brown. I don't even know, but
Hey,
Dinosaur
we
was
all did
all
weird
part of
stuff.
that.
It's
We
fine.
all did weird.
No judgment. Especially out in LA. I bet it was a lot weirder than a lot of places.
Yeah, I mean, so for anybody that's listening that has no idea what we're talking about,
Sorry, kind of sort.
I I lost my mind during the pandemic. I was so
Fair.
upset that I essentially couldn't do random acts of kindness anymore because nobody wanted to be approached. We were all afraid of one another. So I bought an inflatable T-Rex costume. I
Let's
put
go.
a mask on. I was like, people are gonna love being approached by a dinosaur. AKA a girl that's, like, masked inside a plastic bubble, and so me and my friends and family, like, we'd go out and just have the best time ever, like, doing random acts of kindness, and we called it the Kindosaur and
That's
making
so
all these
good.
Kindosaur videos of, like, giving people flowers and, like, going to the grocery store and, like, buying food for food drives, and, my friend had a convertible, and so sh we put the Kindosaur, AKA me, in the back of the convertible, and the Kindosaur so it was really funny because, like, it didn't fit with the top on, so we rolled the top down, and we tried to drive, and I'm like, "Ah!"
That's
This
so funny.
the whole thing's inflatable. But anyway, we drove to the, In-N-Out Burger, and we were, like, buying people In-N-Out Burger for, like,
Let's
cars
go.
behind us, and it was just like
That's so good.
I just look back and just crack up because I'm like, I completely lost my mind that I was going
Hey,
out in public as a dinosaur and just doing things. But I was like, you know what? The world right now is so crazy. I'm not happy. Nobody is. Let's go.
thank thank you for doing that as well. Just thank you. I just want to say thanks because it takes, you know, going a little crazy potentially and also just having to scratch that itch. I get it. I really do.
Yeah, I
I
was
had
losing it,
very similar things where I
losing
was
it.
like, I'm gonna still like we're gonna clean these microphones and the headphones and we're still gonna push record and tell people's story and stuff. So yeah, I
Full
feel
speed
like
ahead. Yeah, sometimes, like these moments of unexpected adversity arise and we have to find ways to push through them. And sometimes that looks like wearing a plastic dinosaur
yeah.
costume in
Hey,
public because it's just like I could not stay home a minute longer. I mean, I can't I think back on the pandemic, I'm like, wow, what a weird time that we were all like locked up for all of that time. But
wow.
it's what it is.
Hey, it burst some great things though, like a
Mhm.
kind of sore. So I mean that's
Sure.
something to celebrate as well. Well, man, I am super grateful for this opportunity, Megan. I know we're both doing a lot of things these days, and gotta keep it moving and whatnot. But super duper grateful to connect with you, and I
Thank you.
love every single thing about the kind effect and what you're doing and how you're going about it. And there's anything we can do here in the greater Nashville area to collab or support or do anything in that regard, we are all in on the kindness effect. So
Cool. Love that.
keep fighting the good fight. I know it's not easy, but it's so necessary, and you're changing lives whether you know it or not. So
Oh, that's
so that
sweet. Thank you so
hey
much.
hey southern hospitality. We're not hey we do the
Oh,
kindness effect pretty good around these parts.
yes,
So
you do.
come on down. Come on
Yes, you
down.
do.
We'll make some greatness happen and just thank you. And again, and just plug away where people can find and just we'll wrap it up.
Great.
Oh, my bad.
Thekindeffect.com.
Kindeffect.com,
The
the
kind
at
effect.
the kind effect. And yeah, we will man, I hope to do more than just this recording because this is like I said, kindred spirits and things the world need more of, and there's plenty of room out there to amplify this stuff. So, thank you so much for your time, and we'll
Thank
wrap it up.
you. Thank you.
All right, everybody, be sure to check out lastwordletters.com. Use that code STP at checkout for 20% off.